Before we get to our show, here is a podcast we think you're going to love.
What's up, UFOnauts? It's your UFO guy, Rob Christofferson. Have you ever been curious about the UFO phenomenon, but unsure of where to start? Have you ever wondered about just what crashed at Roswell? Have you ever wanted common sense advice about licking UFOs? The answer's don't. Then check out the Our Strange Skies podcast, where we dive into America's rich UFO history and uncover what these sightings say about ourselves. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and most podcast apps, as well as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't forget to look up, because you never know what you'll find in Our Strange Skies. In Gray we trust.
Hello, Five listeners. Welcome to Perhaps It's You, an unofficial fan rewatch podcast of the classic television series Unsolved Mysteries. I'm Samantha.
I'm Liz.
And we're here with two very special guests. Say hello, very special guests.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here with Mike and Josh from the Uncovering Unexplained Mysteries podcast, who very graciously dedicated another afternoon to this podcast that isn't even theirs.
This is such a loaded episode. We could make a documentary on how hard this episode was to
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we talked a little bit on our Q&A episode last week about how bad we feel that we wasted all of your time.
No, it's
but
not.
Here we are again. You guys are very gracious coming on our podcast, even though we screwed up last time.
Dude, it's not it's really not that big of a deal. You don't beat yourself up over it. I mean, the amount of people out there who are starting their podcast for the first time, and these are issues that everyone runs into, and it's all behind the scenes stuff that no one hears, so it's cool.
Josh was just learning that when we say we are not professionals, he was learning the extent to which that was true. As he told us various things like turn up the gain, and we went,
what does that mean?
And then we literally sent him a picture of our mixer because we didn't understand what he was saying. Also, we have a little bit of a different setup today. Samantha and I are sharing one mic. It's a tiny bit awkward. I feel like I'm going to accidentally kiss her as we both...
I'm basically sitting in Liz's lap right now. We're talking around one microphone because literally we are not experts. We probably don't even have the correct setup. Somehow it works every week.
Yeah,
but when you introduce two more people into the mix, things get more complicated.
We keep going, podcasting is so easy. Don't worry about it. And then any question, we're like, I don't know. It just works.
But you know what? It's going to sound great.
We just plugged a bunch of stuff in and recorded
It's just
a show.
magic. You know, a podcast fairy comes along every now and then and sprinkles some dust on things and everything works out.
I think it's Robert Stack's ghost, actually. And you know what? It's going to sound great because we're not doing anything with the audio. Josh has very graciously agreed to edit it together for us. So I don't want to take that credit because if we were responsible for this, it probably wouldn't even happen. So thank you very much.
We can't even get two mics to work right now. So
here we are. Anyway, how is it going, you guys? Josh, I really want to know how the possum saga's going.
Possum cast.
Yeah, I knew this was going to happen.
Please tell us if you finally caught the possum that's living in your house. Or did you just decide to make him pay rent and he could just stay?
No, the possum is freeloading. I discovered a possum living in my house many weeks ago. I heard claw sounds underneath my bathtub. And there's a panel in my back closet, and I pulled the wooden panel back, and it exposes the piping to the bathtub. And you can also see a little space between the inside wall and the underneath of the bathtub. And when I pulled that panel back, there was a possum just burrowed up in there.
Oh my God!
It was frightening. Our eyes met, and. And there was fear in both of our eyes. I closed the panel back immediately, taped it up with several layers of tape, and I have attempted to capture this possum because there's a hole underneath my house that he keeps coming out of, or she. I don't know. I'm guessing it might actually be a she because I think it's trying to have kids, have its babies.
I like
in your house.
She loves you, Josh. She wants you to be the father to her baby.
Well, let me tell you something. These possums are resilient bastards.
Adorable.
Well, They're adorable. They're adorable until you get to the tail, because it's like you look at the face and it's like, okay, it's got like a little pig nose. That's kind of cute. And it's furry. And then it's like you get to the tail. It's like this lizard, scaly reptilian. What the fuck? Like, what kind of leftover pieces did you evolve from? Like, but yeah, I set a trap outside, and it would go into the trap, and the door slams shut. And this thing is just able to push the trap door open with its dumb possum head.
Yeah,
and
they're smart. They're smart.
Yeah, are we calling the possum dumb, Josh? Have you captured this possum
The
yet?
possum hasn't captured you, and you've escaped. You've captured the possum, and the possum's escaped.
I heard the possum ate all your pizza. Is that also true?
Man,
These are rumors flying around the interwebs.
you got your notes right on point. It did in fact eat all of my pizza. I don't understand how it's not constipated, honestly.
It ate all of the cheese pizza. There's none left.
Stuffed crust to boot. So I mean, that's a lot of cheese.
Because the possum ate it. You know, the possum can Ralph it back up, maybe.
All right, Josh, that's enough about your possum. We're here to talk about Unsolved Mysteries.
Wait, I do have to find out if the possum has been captured yet.
Is there an update on the possum? Is that?
Yeah, I heard it like 3 seconds ago clawing around under my... It's still there.
You could invite the possum on the podcast if it's available.
The amount of people
Possum
who...
cast!
Yeah. You know, it's like one of those things with Mike's toe, and that became a legend. Now it's a fucking possum with me.
Hey, we were going to ask about Mike's toe in the Q&A.
We're not going to spoil it.
Mike, how's your toe?
It's fine. It's fine. It looks fucking weird, but it's fine.
Several people asked about it. Clearly, the world wants to know. All right, we've alienated everyone. This is really going to be about Unsolved Mysteries. If you're following
We promise.
we promise. You're following along on Amazon. We're on season 1, episode 23. There are 4
You gals are
mysteries.
almost done with season 1.
We have one more episode after this.
Oh, before we
Which
start,
is kind of amazing.
I just want to say that, like, the old lady who lives next door to me, she, I guess, decided to have her lawn care people come right now, and I think they're literally holding their lawnmower up to my window. I think they've picked the lawnmower up off the ground and are taking their hands and pushing the lawnmower up against my window right now, because it is, like, right outside my door.
First of all, that old lady is really a ghost. Second of all, she's jealous that you haven't invited her on the podcast yet. And this is clearly revenge.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, because now she's got the weed eater up against the window, too. So
It's a whole conspiracy, Josh. The ghost lady is the one that placed the possum in your house.
oh,
It all
God.
makes sense.
I'm picturing Josh's new podcast where him and a possum and an old woman sit around a table and record.
Oh, you mean Possum Cast? The #1 podcast
God.
on iTunes?
Guys, the crazy, wacky disagreements we get into on this podcast, you've got to check it out. Possum Cast coming out in March.
I'm
The logo
wondering.
is you getting eaten by a possum. It's just like your body sticking out of a possum's mouth.
I just want somebody to do like an animation
What
of...
do you think the possum would sound like, Josh?
I don't know. yeah. That was
Thanks
good.
for that, Liz. That was Liz's impression of a possum.
Sam, how did you enjoy that right in your ear? Was that lovely?
It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
I'm used. Listen, we recently got some feedback about our laughter, and how shrill and cackling we are.
Yeah,
so
they're like,
clearly,
stop
I'm just
cackling
used to it.
like a witch.
Ooh,
Well-
that's a compliment.
Yeah, if they had called us witches, that would have been. We would have appreciated that email. But instead, we were called cackling hens, which we don't appreciate.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So I understand that you ladies are not, in fact, Satanists.
You're not. Now, we've backed away from our pro-Satanism stance. We're still pro-Satan. That has not changed. However, we do not appreciate the Church of Satan as much as we once did.
We've learned, we've educated ourselves. We learned more about Satanism, and then we went, no, this is not for us, I don't think.
You know what's funny? What I find funny is that you guys can talk about how you're Satanists and all that. Not a single, maybe like one star review on your iTunes. We mentioned Satan on our podcast. We have 12 new 1-star reviews.
Well, I guess more Satanists listen to us. I'm not really sure.
Well, not anymore.
Well,
since
I
we
guess
talk
we're
shit
gonna
about
get
their
12
church.
more bad reviews when we get around to doing the Satanic Panic series, because there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna hate that.
I mean, yeah,
That
if we
shit.
sit there and we're like, yes, we totally agree with everything that happened on the Satanist
We're actually
side.
going to have a little ceremony after this with some...
I'm imagining you both in like negligees, like that one chick.
Don't do that. What?
Jeez, Mike.
I mean, that's after the podcast.
That's what I'm
When
thinking.
We have,
After,
we have
it's
our
just-
seances.
I'm
in
not.
the
I'm not
tool
trying to
shed.
be. I'm just seeing the same kind of similarities between that crazy chick from Unsolved
Oh, yeah,
Mysteries.
Anne?
Yeah,
Her name
Anne.
was Anne.
Yeah.
Her name was Anne, and we appreciated her Satan witchcraft, voodooism. She apparently had a wide spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries didn't really like Anne, but we thought she was great.
So we've recorded this podcast previously, like literally everything we're about to talk about, we've already talked about last week. So I'm going to be saying the same jokes and the same corny lines. Liz and Samantha and Mike are all going to laugh at them like it's the first time they've heard it. And, we'll all learn a little bit about acting in theater today, like
Oh, sure.
pretending that shit's funny.
Yeah. I mean,
So we'll get a taste of what it's like to be Jimmy Fallon.
Oh,
all right. Should we get into this mystery? I'm really excited to talk about Mystery 1. See, the other thing about this is that we gave you guys like the worst mysteries
Yeah.
we've done since, and
Yeah.
it was not intentional.
Thank
but
you.
somehow you drew the short straw coming on our podcast talking about some pretty boring ass mysteries. But my first mystery is great, so I'm looking forward to talking about it.
well, we had already done the ones that y'all are going to talk about, so that's why I was like, well, Liz and Sam should cover these, Patsy and whoever the other person is, Gus. There you
Gus.
go. Because we've already done segments on those two, so I wanted to hear what y'all's take was. But yes, we did draw some short ass straws. With that being said.
I mean, I think our take the last time we recorded this was perfect and hilarious, and this will be a slightly watered down version of that.
Absolutely.
It will, because also when did we watch this fucking episode? Like 3 weeks ago
Yeah,
now?
I don't know.
And did I rewatch it before we did this podcast today? No, I did not.
Nor did I.
So this first mystery is about Gus Hoffman, as we said. Gus was 20 years old. He was an avid musician and motorcycle rider. In October 1977, he acquired an old Harley-Davidson Sportster and spent a lot of time, effort, and money restoring it to mint condition. The make and model of the bike was popular not only with aficionados, but also criminal bikers, according to
The worst kind of bikers.
the Unsolved Mysteries wiki. And this may have regretfully made Gus a target. Because of this, his parents wanted him to sell the bike. He agreed to do it once he finished refurbishing it.
Basically, his parents were total squares.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. This is just weird. I think we talked about this. Actually, I know we talked about this the last time we recorded this. Like, this idea of bikers being criminals and that's it's just not really the case anymore. Like, Liz always likes to say that the only people who have motorcycles are dentists.
Retired. The only person that can afford a Harley Davidson is a retired orthodontist. Because Harley Davidsons are really expensive, and an average person can't get them.
Not only that, but there's been a study that's come out that's shown that millennials just really aren't into motorcycles like the previous generations were. So the audience for Harley Davidsons is quickly aging out of, buying motorcycles and riding them around. And, if there is a type of motorcycle that millennials do buy, it's usually those Kawasaki crotch rockets, and they're not, the big choppers.
I mean, we've come a long way from the Wild One movies, and now I think the last biker movie that came out had fucking John Travolta and Tim Allen in it.
Wild Hogs.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have the
I
same
knew
glamour.
Mike was going to chime in with the name of that movie.
Oh, Wild Hogs! I watched that last night.
Yeah, exactly. You're learning how he is, his various isms.
Some of the glamour is definitely gone, I think.
Well, that movie sucked, so that didn't help either.
Did not help. So on July 4th, 1978, he showed off his bike to his brother and told them that he was going to take the bike out for a short ride. However, he never returned. Gus's mother, Rose, became concerned and contacted the police. The police told her that nothing could be done until 48 hours after he was reported missing.
That's so lame.
Yeah,
because
the police were worthless in this segment.
But I mean, that's how it is. I think that's how it still is, right? It's like 48 hours. Like,
I
can't
don't
really
think
do
it
anything.
has to be. I think it depends on the jurisdiction and some other things. But it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous if you actually know there's a problem that you have to wait a full 48 hours.
I just want to burn this joke off real quick that I used last
it.
podcast. This story sounds like how it's starting off. The parents want him to sell his bike. He doesn't want to do it. He gets involved in a street gang. This sounds like it could be an Unsolved Mysteries story, or it could be a 1980s coming-of-age teen movie.
Or it could have been one of those after-school specials to
on
teach
ABC.
you to, like, you should have stayed home and done your homework, not fixed up an old Harley Davidson. Now, a bunch of toughs with chains are going to swing them at your head. It's also just, like, the very first time he rode away on his bike, he got into trouble.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
he had very bad luck.
Poor Gus.
I know.
Poor Gus.
Yeah, and then we also learned from the first 48 that, like, after 48 hours, like, no one's gonna solve your fucking murder. So why would you wait? I don't know. I think it's dumb.
Yeah, it's like the first 48 hours are the most important hours. Also, we're not going to look for your son until those hours are over.
Less paperwork, Liz.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, after let your son get shot or something, like let him die and then come talk to me. But if he's just missing, I can't be bothered.
Pretty much. So anyway, Rose decided to look for Gus herself. She canvassed the neighborhood and soon ran into one of Gus's friends who worked at a gas station. The friend told her that on the day of Gus's disappearance, he saw Gus pull up to an intersection on his motorcycle. The friend saw two other bikers and a blue Monte Carlo riding close behind him. The friend remembered the two bikers because they had come into the gas station earlier and had been mean to him.
Oh, no.
Oh shit!
Fortunately, his job was so good that was notable.
I'm wondering, like, is that how Robert Stack actually said it in the segment?
Because
that'd
they
be
were
hilarious.
mean to him. And then he rubbed his eyes like he was crying. Like, wait. It's a little something different from Stack. You don't see that all the time.
Yeah.
He's usually so
The
serious.
friend remembered the two bikers because they had come into the gas station earlier and had been mean to him.
And they were mean to him. I was on the Untouchables. Suck it up.
So a second witness claimed that the two bikers had stopped Gus, argued with him, and threatened him with chains. Can we talk about this
Who
reenactment
the
for a
fuck
second?
are
Because
these
it's
people?
so ridiculous.
Ghost Rider cosplayers? Like, are they such big fans of Ghost Rider? Like, oh, we got to get a motorcycle and chains.
Yeah, when you buy a motorcycle at the dealership, they just hand you a chain.
And you change.
And they say, be sure to wave this over your head at any squares you see.
You see, people, this is what I'm talking about. Liz and Sam, they are funnier than I would have never thought about saying some shit like that, but that's fucking hilarious.
It's really just Liz. She does most of the jokes in
That's
this
not
podcast.
a joke. That's true. That's what happens when you buy a motorcycle. There's one sitting, rotting in my garage right now.
And do you have chains?
And there's a chain wrapped around it.
And some chains.
When you buy a motorcycle, it comes with your choice of a Van Halen 1 or a White Snake cassette as well.
They go, you can't play this on the motorcycle, but you'll just want it. So
But I mean, this reenactment is hilarious. It really
yeah.
is.
Yeah, this chain is gigantic. Also, like, where was he keeping that? Like, did he have a basket
Well, in his
on the
pants,
back?
of course.
is a stylish belt.
He's just keeping it in his
And
pants.
then he would need to, when he saw a square or a nerd, he would take off his chain for the
Fucking nerd! Let me
Yeah.
get my chain out of my fanny pack.
I also feel like every single one of them spends a lot of time cutting the sleeves off their t-shirts. Like the second they get a t-shirt, they're like, well, can't leave the sleeves on this.
Gotta take the guns out of the holsters.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we'll talk about these guys later, but they show their mugshots, and these guys have product in their hair. Like,
It's for real.
yeah,
Are
like
you sure
these
that's
guys
product
spend
or
some
is that
time-
just grease?
I think it might be product. These guys spend some time in front of the mirror in the morning to get this tousled look. This is not a.
Some beef
Well, the
with-
guy in the guy on the left, no, on the right, Michael Hodges, like he looks like a wrestler. So he looks
He
like Roman
does.
Reigns.
He also has very nice high cheekbones. Like I'd like some cheekbones like that.
Oh yeah, Michael Hodges. Yeah, he also looks like this isn't gonna like apply to 0.1% of your audience, but he also looks like the lead guitar player for Genesis, Steve Hackett, back in the day. Again, I know
Someone
just
knows what that.
Just silent.
radio silence. I understand, but
I'm sure my dad appreciated that, and he thanks you. John.
and
yeah.
that was for him. Hi, Mr. Liz's dad.
Yep. That's what he goes by.
He does. So, anyway, when Gus pulled away, the two bikers and the Monte Carlo followed him. The two witnesses identified one of the bikers as Michael Hodges, a member of the Forgotten Few motorcycle gang.
Lamest motorcycle gang name ever.
Yeah, it's not good. It sounds like a Western. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
No, I don't know who came up with that name, but they need to go back to the drawing board. So anyway, the other guy was Michael Stevenson, another member of the same gang. Stevenson was a violent career criminal. However, the investigators
He
did not-
devoted his life to crimes. He had a vision.
I mean, at least he had a career.
Yeah, crimes. Violent crimes.
Sure. He had some passion about some things. There's maybe some.
I still don't understand why they use career for like.
He was mostly passionate about chains, but also
He was,
about crime.
you know, he was a chain man. He was into chains and wished he was a part of a chain gang, and then eventually ended up a part of a chain gang.
I thought you were gonna
later,
take
so-
like a BDSM angle there, Mike. I'm glad you didn't.
No.
It was a missed opportunity. Anyway, however,
Samantha's sad. The rest of us are glad you didn't.
so the investigators did not have enough evidence to bring the two men in for interrogation. Instead, they questioned other gang members who knew the two men, and nobody was willing to talk.
Yeah, they were just scared of the people they actually needed to talk to. I don't understand why it was like, well, we'll just talk to other people in the gang. What? Why?
I'm pretty sure the cops were afraid of this gang, or they were paid off. I don't know.
Yeah, they
it's
could have
very
been paid off.
strange.
Yeah.
That they seem to. I mean, people have been brought in for questioning on far less than a witness saying that they saw him threatening some guy with chains who went missing. Like that seems like enough evidence to maybe bring him in and talk to him. I don't know.
Also, in the reenactment, the guy was like, how about you get the heck out of here?
And the police were like, "All right, bye."
All right. Yes, that threat worked.
Yeah, I loved that particular part because the cops come up to this guy's door and he's like, "Well, either arrest me or get the heck out of here." Because that's how you want to talk to cops in Los Angeles.
That's totally not how it went. It was more like, once you arrest me or get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm thinking
sure
I'm
that-
thinking it was dialed back more like either arrest me or please leave because kind of got a lot of drugs in here and some human trafficking going on, so everything's cool.
He has
how
the
I-
voice
that's how
crack
I
thing
talk
like
to
one of the
the police,
nerds
yes.
from Revenge of the Nerds.
No, that's
So he
how,
had the same laugh too.
that's I'm just the point in the joke, Mike, is that's how you would talk to cops because you're trying to be respectful.
That was good. So okay, so here's my favorite part of the segment. In order to turn up leads for the police, Rose and a friend named Carol Jensen decided to go undercover to infiltrate the motorcycle gang hangouts. The two women dressed as best as they could as women
This
bikers.
is classic.
Oh my god.
Everyone needs to watch this segment. Even if you don't regularly watch Unsolved Mysteries, I think it's worth watching this just to see these moms or the reenactment of these moms with their gigantic 80s hair
They
and like
tease
leather,
their hair up to the sky.
and they're wearing like leather mini skirts, and then they're like, "Hey, bub, you know this guy?" And then just like picture your own mom in that situation, like
No.
going
No.
to scare up some toughs to try to find information
Well,
on you.
I'll give my mom is at least she's tall. She's big. Like she could like fuck some people up. I mean, really. So
So
I don't think
your
she could get
mom
her
might
hair. I don't think she could
that
get her
big?
hair that high. I think it would just have it would be like wearing a wig or something. But yeah, she could kick some ass.
You'd be amazed what you can do with a comb, Mike. You can.
So, Mike,
You won't believe how big your hair could get.
are you saying the amount of times that I've said something upsetting to you and you said, I'm going to tell my mom on you, I really should be scared?
You should have been quaking in your boots.
Okay, damn. Now I know.
You should be afraid. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
But honestly, Rose and Carol with their big old hair, and this is
Even
the biggest hair we've
their
seen.
names, Rose and Carol.
They're
Yeah.
heroes. I respect this so much that the police were like, there's nothing we can do. And they were like, well, we're going to take a gun.
Gosh darn it, we're gonna do it.
Yes, we'll go to biker bars ourselves and we'll... I could see my mom doing this. I don't know that she would dress up, but I think she would just go and look sad and they would probably take pity on her. Because everyone...
In my mind, too, I would hope that they would have y'all same, like, Midwestern accents. Hey, pal, you need to tell me where my kid is. I got a
Is that
gun.
what we sound like?
That's uncanny. That's exactly how my mom sounds. Josh, could you use that voice and say, I read 100 werewolf novels?
I would, but see, like, you would think that I would be your brother or something. It would freak you out too much because the accent would be
okay.
so dead on.
Yeah.
All right, thank goodness. So these two went to biker bars and other hangouts and questioned bikers, hoping to find anyone who had information about Gus. Rose solicited and even bought information, sharing any lead she found with the police. Rose then hired a private investigator who had connections with motorcycle gangs. He set up a meeting with a woman who claimed to have information about Gus's disappearance. The informant said that Gus was dead. She also claimed that he had been tortured for 3 to 5 days before being killed. I know. Rose begged the woman to talk to the police, but the private investigator said that the woman couldn't because she would be killed.
This is like some Sons of Anarchy shit right here. They should do like a Sons of Anarchy spinoff with these two gals, and it's like takes place in the 80s, and then they go and try to solve biker crimes.
I would love a Rose and Carol show. That would be my new favorite show.
Where they just go undercover in all these seedy locations.
Yes, in quote unquote low class establishments, as they called them.
And they have different
Absolutely.
outfits and hairstyles in every episode.
Oh, I love this idea. We need to run with this. We need to call Netflix.
Yeah.
I want to
Get me
see
a
Rose. I
meeting.
want to see Carol so badly, like, go up to like one of these guys and be like, "Hey, pal, I'm packing heat, so don't try any funny stuff."
And she really did bring a gun. Like it wasn't loaded apparently, but she literally brought a gun to this place, which seems like a bad idea, but I appreciate
She bought a
her.
gun too, and that probably would have been an
courage.
awkward
What a
exchange.
good, like, I understand someone doing this for their son, but what a good friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Carol is a great friend. Would you do that for me? Liz?
absolutely. I would
What?
absolutely do that for you. I would not do it with Josh though. Don't tell Josh, but I
Oh,
wouldn't do it for him.
jeez.
But Mike, would you do it for Josh?
Yeah, why not?
There was a little hesitation there. I don't know.
The cracks.
Well, see, this is the thing. This is how used to kicking ass Mike is. It's a very casual thing for him. If I ask him to like go with me to these seedy locations and perhaps run into some tough characters, Mike's like, yeah, why not?
Just a typical Saturday for me.
Looks like another Friday night for Mike.
So Rose believes that the bikers took her son to an unknown home, forced him into the garage, tortured him, and murdered him.
You just had
However,
a hard time reading that exchange because it's so fucked up.
It is fucked up. And also, I don't understand how this happened. Like, did these guys just drive around on their motorcycles and the first poser they see, they just murder him? I don't understand what happened here.
I think that's what happened. They're like, this fucking poser over here riding a motorcycle. He's a fucking square. He needs to die with chains.
They could have just pushed him off the bike and taken it. I don't understand the need to kill him. I certainly don't understand the need to torture him. Just
I don't get that either.
There's a bunch of you. There's one of him. Just take it.
Well, it's like what I was saying in the last time we did this episode that we're all going to pretend didn't actually happen. I think this was some kind of this could have been some kind of initiation for one of the new members of the gang or something, you know.
They always
Oh,
do
that's
an
plausible.
initiation ritual with chains.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Maybe The forgotten few, they're real tough.
The forgotten few, that sounds like the kids that were butthurt that the teacher didn't call on them in class or something.
This is what those kids grew up to be.
I knew the answer, damn it. That bitch should have called my name.
So Rose had no evidence to prove this theory, but then on June 19th, 1986, let's try that again, Michael Stevenson was killed during a failed extortion attempt. With Stevenson dead, investigators re-questioned former motorcycle gang members. These members began to talk. They said that Gus had been taken to Stevenson's home where he was tortured and murdered. It's a little convenient that as soon as this guy dies, everyone else in the gang was like, oh yeah, he the guy that just died, he's the one that killed that kid. Like, really? I don't know. It
the tortured and murdered stuff. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Stevenson was the leader of this gang or whatever, but I mean,
well, maybe they were intimidated. They didn't want to admit because Stevenson would, beat him with chains or something. Like
does seem to be what Unsolved Mysteries is suggesting, but it seems a little convenient. I don't know. Anyway, in June of 1988, Michael Hodges was arrested and charged with Gus's murder. However, Rose and the investigators are certain that more people were involved. So the result of this case is that it's unresolved. Richard Dollar, another gang member, was serving time in San Quentin for a parole violation when he was charged with Gus's murder. And then another gang member named John Steele was arrested in Northern California in December of 1988. This was while Unsolved Mysteries was still filming Gus's story. Steele was carrying a loaded handgun, and then for some reason he was also charged with Gus's murder. Dollar's ex-wife was a key prosecution witness. She testified that she had witnessed the murder. Other witnesses also testified about the suspect's involvement in the crime. On August 1990, Michael Hodges, Richard Dollar, and
Michelle Hodges?
I almost said Michelle Hodges. No, that's someone else entirely. Richard Dollar and John Steele were all convicted of Gus's murder and sentenced to life in prison. Hodge and Steele have since died behind bars. Based on the testimony of witnesses, investigators believe that Gus's body was dismembered in Michael Stevenson's garage, placed in trash bags, and taken to an unknown location. However, Gus's body has never been found, nor was his motorcycle, which authorities believe was sold to a chop shop by the murderers in order to disassociate themselves from the crime and to get some money. Which, how much money did they get off of that stupid motorcycle anyway? Couldn't have been worth someone's life.
Poor Gus spent all that time putting that bike back together. And not only did he get murdered and tortured and dismembered.
Can you imagine if that's
his
the
work on the bike?
Yeah.
The bike lasted one day.
All gone. All for naught. The after school special actually does, follow the same plot. And he was dismembered and tortured to death. So
takes a strange turn at the end.
Don't buy and ride bikes, kids.
Or you'll be beaten to death with chains by street toughs with mustaches.
They would have to put in some sort of it would have to be a satanic motorcycle gang in order for.
I'm waiting for that Unsolved Mysteries
Satan sluts.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually a motorcycle gang from the movie Howard the Duck.
Of course you would know that and reference it, Mike.
I thought that was another film entirely, but okay. So this mystery was really good. I really liked the reenactments. The fashion is fucking amazing. This is the best 80s fashion we've seen. But it's a super sad case. Gus's picture is on the Unsolved Wiki, and he seems like he's got this baby face with this little wispy mustache and this mullet. He seems like such a nice kid. He was gonna do what his parents wanted him to do, which was get rid of this motorcycle he clearly loved. He just was taking it for one last ride, and then he got fucking murdered by a motorcycle chain gang.
It's a fate that if someone just told me this story, I would go, "That's not true."
Yeah,
but I have to believe it because it was on Unsolved Mysteries.
Are they
exactly?
It's a Forgotten Few. It also sounds like a band name. Are they like singing doo-wop and whatever when they're beating this guy with chains?
Now
that's possible.
Now you've turned it into like Grease or something like that, Mike.
These guys
working on the chain. Gay.
Oh God.
That was good.
You got him
Keep
started.
Going.
Yep. All right, Mike.
All right. So that was that mystery. Who has the next one?
It's a mysterious
Me!
legend.
Me.
All right. Oh, I remember this one now.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about the mystery of where these people found fucking nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little nap while you talk about this. So carry on.
This is the mystery of the white bird. No,
Dumbest
it's not.
plane name ever.
It's not a seagull or anything. It's
An
but that would be
airplane.
hilarious. There's a seagull that went missing and it ended up on Unsolved Mysteries.
It'd be a much better segment if this whole thing was just about a missing
Where's
seagull.
old Timmy? He sits on the pier every day.
Next up on Insignificant Mysteries, the seagull on the pier. All right, this is about Charles Nungesser and Francois Coley. They disappeared on May 8th of 1927. Now, Charles Nungesser and Francois Coley were two trained World War I pilots who designed and built the L'Assaut Blanc, French for the white bird.
That was
Levasseur.
spot on French, I'm sure.
I fucked up the French pronunciation for sure.
We wouldn't have done any better though. So
It's-
A
Don't worry
Levasseur PL.8 biplane based on a PL.4 reconnaissance aircraft built for a flight from Paris to New York City in one of the earliest pre-Lindbergh transatlantic flights. Now, they were messing around with fate. They were poking fate's chest before they even flew on this mission because there's photos of these two, and one of them has like a eye patch.
Yeah, that's
Which is
pretty
like-
awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
he has
But
one
they-
less eye to fly with. This does not seem good.
Oh,
No,
I
it
assumed that was
doesn't.
just for fashion.
Oh, it might have been.
He's like Brian Ferry. He's just got the one fashionable eye patch. Anyway, go ahead.
He's like a Snake Plissken. But anyway, they have this picture of them, and they're standing in front of their plane, and it's got this decal that's a heart with a skull and crossbones in the middle. And it's
Yeah,
like,
let
oh,
me-
I love death. Okay, all right. Well, then you're gonna meet death. If you love death, well, here's some death.
Yeah, that seems like a bad omen when you're, especially when you're attempting something so dangerous as what they're
Yeah,
about to
flying
do.
around in a wooden plane. Yeah, that's.
Over the fucking ocean.
It's a good tattoo idea, maybe, but not so much plain decal art or whatever you call
No.
it.
So on May 8th, 1927, they departed from the Le Bourget field in Paris, across the English Channel over the southwestern part of England and Ireland, and then across the Atlantic for a water landing in New York. They were sighted over the French coast over Carrollholt, Ireland, and then for the last time off the Irish coast by a British naval officer. Despite false reports of their arrival in America by French newspapers, the plane and pilots were never seen again. For decades, it was assumed that the plane had crashed at sea. 50 years later, however, in 1971, hunter Jim Reed was deep in the Maine woods when he found a moss-covered aircraft engine. He was certain that it was not from an automobile.
Did he, though?
I know. It's like, how do you know for sure?
Maybe he did, or maybe he was high. There's a
Maybe
lot
he
of
was drunk.
options.
Yeah, it made me feel like these old timey people were just a lot more like coherent than I am because he was talking about in the segment. He's like, I knew it wasn't a diesel engine or an engine from a Mustang, and I'm sitting there going, that's to me that would just be like, oh, it's just some moss and some rusty shit. Why don't I keep walking? And this guy's able to like narrow down what kind of engine it is.
He believed that it came from an aircraft. However, despite several attempts, Jim was unable to retrace his steps, and the engine was never found again.
Oh, very convenient,
yeah, very
Jim.
convenient. Yeah.
I
They're called
have
bullshit.
I have a theory. What if it's from a UFO? What if it's not from the white bird? Because there's no reason, even if he did see an engine, there's no reason to think it was from the white bird.
Aliens.
But what if, or it's a ghost engine?
Anything from now on that we can't explain, we're just going to say it must have been a ghost.
It's like the ghost blimp, but like it actually was a ghost. Unlike the
Yeah.
ghost blimp where it wasn't a ghost blimp. That was so disappointing.
Wait, a ghost blimp?
Have you-
Is this an Unsolved Mysteries
It
segment?
is.
Yes.
It is.
Oh.
and we knew that. So carry on.
So since 1985, aircraft researcher Rick Gillespie, whatever his last name is, Gillespie, doing my best Sylvester the Cat impression there.
You're doing
And
great.
his wife have been searching for the missing plane. They are convinced that the plane did indeed make its way across the Atlantic before crashing in Maine. This couple quit their jobs.
Yeah, that's insane to me. Why?
It is.
What?
To hunt and search for this missing plane. This is a treasure segment. This is a hidden treasure segment.
Except that when you find the treasure, it's rotten old wood.
Yeah.
Even if, so they've quit their jobs to try to find the white bird, which is probably in the ocean. But even if they do find it, what do they get? Like, how much money is
book
potentially...
deal?
A book deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This seems really silly to me. The only thing I can say to explain is that they just had too much money to begin with.
You guys are totally discounting the 5 people that are like totally into transatlantic flight history of the 1800s in France. Okay, so to those 5 people, these people are celebrities.
It's not the 1800s. It's the 1900s.
Well, whatever.
1927.
We have a few less listeners
Way off.
now. Because
We'll just add that to the list of everyone that we've alienated, along with people who live in tiny houses.
I can guarantee you we've alienated more people. Not trying to have a pissing contest here, but we've pissed off quite a few people.
well, we'll catch up quickly, I'm
You've
sure.
alienated people in tiny houses?
We've talked about how dumb tiny houses are a time or two, I think. I'm not even sure how that came up. Like, there's... Clearly that was a tangent at one
So
point.
all of a sudden you're just talking about some random mystery and you're like, I hate tiny houses.
Let me tell you about these
tiny
fucking
houses.
tiny houses. Yeah, I don't remember how that came up, but we've definitely insulted some people who live in tiny houses.
How do you feel about the storage container houses?
I don't even know what this is. People live in storage containers?
Yep.
Yeah, they buy
Liz-
storage containers now because it's too expensive for millennials to afford houses. So they buy storage containers and they remodel them and furnish them.
See, I can respect that because it's just people who can't afford a normal house.
Yeah,
But
but have
what-
you seen some of these? Like some of them are like really fancy schmancy, and some of them I'm like, are you sure you can't afford a house?
Well,
Or are
that's
you
just a
trying
tiny
to
house
be-
then. That's
you're
just like
trying to be
another hipster
trendy?
with a tiny house then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
all this featured on Portlandia at some point? I feel like this is like perfect fodder for that show.
Quite possibly.
Because what they do is they find a plot of land and they buy the plot of land and then they buy storage containers and then
I love living in my tiny house. I can wake up and hit my head on the ceiling every morning.
I thought people who got storage containers to live in were like burying them in their backyard to like be their bunkers for when the world ends.
yeah, like the doomsday preppers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, which is equally as dumb. So there's someone else we've alienated. The doomsday preppers. They're not listening to this podcast.
No.
Who am I
Guys,
kidding?
don't worry. I got them all back with the Genesis reference earlier.
Oh, good. That's good.
Okay. Thank God. Thank you.
Okay, so this couple, they quit their jobs to search for the white bird, and maybe they were taking some white substances before they decided to do that.
They may have.
This is the 80s after all.
Oh my.
They're high on cocaine, and then we're like, you know what we should do? We should totally just quit our jobs and like and go look for that white bird, man.
I
Look
wish
for the
this
white
had been the
bird.
reenactment. That would have been great.
Mike, you play a cokehead a little too good.
So the couple used a helicopter. Yeah, they rented a fucking helicopter. They used a helicopter.
Too much money. They have too much money.
They need new hobbies.
That's why they were able to snort so much cocaine, because they had all this money. They can afford
It
helicopters.
all makes sense now.
So the couple used a helicopter to search the area where Jim Reed believed he had found the engine. However, no trace of it was found. This is exactly like a treasure segment. Oh, yeah, I know it's there.
It's definitely out there.
It's definitely out there. I know it. And I'm going to find it. I'm going to find that moldy piece of wood
In the forest.
in the forest.
The problem with this treasure segment is like the people aren't even crazy enough to make the journey interesting, you know?
No,
Because
and
like
they're not calling it a treasure segment. They're like it's a mystery or something. You know, it's like a
because at least in the treasure segment you have
Legend.
some 80-year-old crazy prospector who's like, I know there's gold in them there hills. I just know it.
That's a very good point. The people in this segment aren't like enough of characters to make this.
They're just rich
hilarious.
yuppies.
Maybe
you know?
they should
Yeah.
have snorted. They should have snorted a line before they got on camera.
Damn, these are some missed opportunities. Oh well.
So anyway, no trace of it was found, of course. The Gillespie's then focused their efforts on questioning long-term Maine residents who were alive in 1927. They first started with a retired blueberry farmer named Harold Vining. First off, that name's perfect. It's like serendipitous fate that he was a blueberry farmer for most of his life.
How do I become a blueberry farmer? That
yeah.
sounds so wonderful.
How do I become a retired blueberry farmer
I want to be so successful at blueberry farming that I can retire.
with all my blueberries?
His business was so good, he had like a fucking like 401k plan in big blueberry money.
Big blueberry money. That's my dream. That sounds lovely.
Yeah. And also this reenactment, this part of the reenactment is glorious because it looks like it's something from a murder segment or something.
Oh yeah, is this the lumberjack guy who's chopping wood and he has to like wear his wood chopping uniform that looks like a lumberjack?
No, I think that's a different guy, but no, it might be the same guy. I think it might be the same guy, but I don't know. There's a bunch of lumberjacky looking guys in this segment.
They're all in the forest, which sets the scene kind of nice.
But anyway, it's this shot. It's shot at night. It's just this outside establishing shot of Harold Vining's farmhouse, and it looks like there's going to be a murder taking place soon.
I'm remembering now.
They didn't know how to light for anything except murder back in the day on Unsolved Mysteries.
It is weirdly intense.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So Harold had lived in the area for 77 years. He is one of the last people alive who claims to have heard the plane as it flew over Maine before crashing and clashing. Harold claims that on May 9th, 1927, he was outside chopping wood. You're right. When he heard a plane flying over him. He knew it was not Charles Lindbergh's plane because it was flying in the wrong direction, and the date did not match the time that Lindbergh was supposed to leave. Now, there is some historical significance to the white bird in this whole thing. Like, if it is found, it would show that they completed the transatlantic flight before Lindbergh did.
Yeah, except they didn't, is the thing.
Exactly, they did.
So there's that.
But a lot of people also really wouldn't be a big deal to them. They'd be like,
I suppose, yeah.
They'd be like, oh, they just have to change the titles at the Air Museum. Oh, it was not Charles Lindbergh. It was.
Yeah, a few
textbooks
textbooks would have to be rewritten, but they get rewritten every year anyway, so like it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you guys are on thin ice right now with pissing off those 5 people who are really into Charles Lindbergh transatlantic flight history. I mean, you're really just negating their whole hobby right now.
They've been waiting for this episode. We've delayed it a week, and now we're pissing on them.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, they've probably tuned out now.
Pissing on them. Okay. All right. R. Kelly's niece.
Okay, not literally.
Well, you might have just gained some fans back with that specific kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, you know, it's a give and take situation on this podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, even the reenactment is boring. Like the murder house, that was better. Like this is just
Everything about this segment is boring. And if you maybe have a touch of insomnia, you can watch it to help you fall asleep because it's
they're just like, oh, there's a plane. I hear a plane. You don't see the plane. You never see the plane. It's just like,
that was a good plane noise. You could do some. It was great. Yeah, the only thing I remember from the segment was the lumberjack guy, the blueberry farmer, and then that they found a stick in the fucking woods.
Yeah, I'll get to that. So 3 miles away, a young couple named Everett and Abigail Scott were driving home when they heard a plane flying above them, and they stopped their car to listen. I guess this is like back in the backwoods in like the 20s. Nothing ever happened worth of note. So you hear a plane flying. It's like, oh my goodness. Stop the car.
Like Liz's house is like across the street from an airport practically. So we're constantly hearing planes, and it definitely was not like that
Yeah,
before.
I envy these people and the novelty of a plane flying over.
Yeah.
So 2 miles away, Mary Gold was in her kitchen when she too heard the plane. Anson Berry was fishing that day. This guy is a nominee for Mustache.
Oh, yeah,
week.
the mustache was great on this one.
So he's got this big handlebar mustache, and he's got the plaid and the fisher's cap or whatever, the prospector's cap on.
Liz just pointed to a sketch she did of this man's mustache.
Oh my god.
Which is great. It's like was it that pointy? I'm not remembering.
I wrote down very straight, and there's a scribble that could be a caterpillar, could be me trying to restart the ink on my pen, or could be a mustache. I mean, it's hard to say.
So he was paddling around the river, and he was fishing, and he also heard a plane flying over. He then heard the plane's engine stop, and finally heard the sound of the plane crashing, although he was unable to locate the crash site. According to Anson's cousin Maurice, it was very foggy that day, so it was impossible for any of the witnesses to actually see the plane. Along with these witnesses, there were also people in Nova Scotia who believed that they had heard and even seen the plane flying above that day. Now, if they did crash in those woods, they still failed because they died, okay? It's about the first successful transatlantic flight. It doesn't count if you crash and you die.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They're looking for the wreckage of a failure.
Yeah.
I mean, give them a little bit of. If they made it over the ocean, that would be.
They died.
Impressive,
Like,
right?
what if they made it over the ocean and crashed into the rocks, like, on the beach? Like, that still doesn't count. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not, that's not how I view things.
This is a segment about people who are excited to find a stick in the forest. And I think that's really all you need to know.
And they're
Yeah.
excited because they were high on cocaine.
Yeah.
In
I mean, we'll
1985,
just
the
assume.
Gillespie's,
Allegedly.
the Gillespie's and their team searched the area where Anson Berry believed the plane had crashed. Was Anson Berry also a blueberry farmer?
He sounds like a blueberry. That is the name of a blueberry farmer, for sure. Or he farms something. I mean,
Strawberries.
yeah. This is a berry farmer we're talking about.
So while there, they found a unique piece of wood that was used for padding purposes, according to them anyway. According to Rick, the piece of wood was not manufactured in North America, although we don't get any details as to why that's the fact. And even my throat's like, I call bullshit on this. Eventually, the team found 23 more fragments of the same strip. Together, they formed the length of 2 meters.
23 pieces of wood?
Wow.
Inclusive.
Did you find leaves too? What about twigs?
Did you find a log? Did you find trees?
This is you guys. The white bird made it.
Yeah.
Crash into the forest. This is the dumbest part because this whole plane was made of wood. So no one is going to actually find the fucking plane. Like
No.
maybe the engine was out there somewhere from some guy who forgot where he saw it. I don't know. This thing is a little bit bullshit.
This is not quite as frustrating as the Son of Sam 2 minutes or missing mystery, but it's
I like the Son of Sam mystery.
because people's clocks might be 2 minutes off. What?
Well, I like the satanic panic part of it. That's the part I like of the Son of
well.
Sam mystery.
It was a good mystery to kind of laugh at how Unsolved Mysteries handled it, I think.
Yeah.
Or just these people with these theories that it was this gang of Satan
Yeah.
worshippers because like some lady like had
It
a
was a
discrepancy
guy.
of 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, but then you have like the recollections of some people being like, oh, yeah, I saw late at night, we were at the park and that I saw people in hoods and they were sacrificing a dog. And they did find dead dogs there. So
The
apparently
dead
there's
dog
something-
part is very strange, I will admit.
So according to Rick, the pieces of wood were not manufactured in North America, although we don't know why, because this segment doesn't give us any concrete information as to why they're not manufactured in North America. We just have to take his word for it, his cocaine-fueled words for it. Eventually, the team found 23 more fragments of the same strip. Together, they formed the length of 2 meters, blah-de-blah-de-blah. To this day, the Gillespie's and their team are still searching for the remains of the white bird.
Which they should give up. right
and
now.
it is still unresolved and unsolved because eyewitness Harold Vining passed away in 1990, soon after this segment was shot. A French analysis theorizes that the pilots ran out of fuel and forced to crash the plane, proving that they had crossed the Atlantic between May 8th and May 9th of 1927. Researchers have revealed that during a 3-month span, 30 ships were ordered to search for pieces of the wreck floating between Boston and St. Pierre, and suspected pieces were found. New archives are being formed to confirming this hypothesis with the help of Eric Lindbergh and William Nungesser, 2 important supporters.
Well, so that was the
What to
most
say about the
boring
White
segment
Bird.
in Unsolved Mysteries history, and chances are they didn't make it. They crashed at sea. The end.
Yes, very boring.
So you did a great job on that, Mike. We really appreciate you taking one for the team and doing that dud of a mystery.
Thank you.
So, Josh, did you have a lost love for us?
Well, actually, I think I might have. It's funny you should mention that. Did you ever want to know about the families of the SS Muskogee crew? Of course you didn't.
No.
No.
I mean, our listeners will already know that we don't really want to. I mean,
I mean, not to try to piss on any of these people.
This is actually worse than the White Bird.
Yeah, it is.
It's at least something,
No disrespect to any of these people, but in
No
all,
disrespect.
in all fairness, they're all dead anyway at this point. So,
it's also, I mean, frankly, it's a little boring. Lost love mysteries are often kind of boring. This one,
There's some good ones, but I usually
extremely
skip
boring.
them.
yeah, Lost Loves are probably collectively our least favorite segment of the entirety.
And I could see why they never made a Lost Loves DVD box set.
That's true. They could have done that, and they did not.
because no one likes them.
Yeah, I mean, even the Miracles DVD set was pushing it a little bit, but there's still some decent Miracles, I guess. Whatever. The story is somewhat fascinating, though I don't really believe many of them, but...
Storm in Hell.
Are you saying that Jesus didn't open his eyes?
Oh, God, you guys have seen that one.
Are you telling me that statue did not open his eyes?
I want to talk more about that fucking...
Where they show the picture and the eyes look exactly the same.
Yeah,
Side by
exactly.
side.
That one is
I think the
bullshit.
biggest
That's
mystery of
bullshit.
that particular segment you're referring to is that ladder, that A-frame ladder that the guy climbed on. Like, how the hell did that thing not snap as soon as you got to the top of it?
That is the fucking miracle.
Anyway, that nobody knows what I'm referencing right now unless you've seen that case recently. But the families of the SS Muskogee crew. In 1941, William Betts, a 39-year-old father of 2 boys, was the captain of the oil tanker named the SS Muskogee. On February 12, 1942, his wife Ellen visited him at the tanker's home port. That day, the SS Muskogee left. Ellen returned home and waited to hear from her husband. Sadly, a few weeks later, Ellen received a telegram that said her husband's ship had been lost. All 34 crew members were believed to have perished. I wonder if it was like one of those singing telegrams, like, "We regret to inform you, stop, that your husband has died, stop."
I'm gonna doubt it, but they should have gone all out, and they should have told her by singing telegram. That would have been the nice.
That's a little bit of...
Well, William made the wrong bet.
Oh God, Mike. Reaching the bottom of the barrel with the corny jokes there. That's fine though. It's fine. We're not working with a whole lot here, so. So 1 year later, their older son George was drafted. As the years passed, he remained haunted about the unknown fate of his father, as I would too, if that happened to me. In 1955, a friend of George's showed him a book about German submarines called Sea Wolves. It's kind of a badass name
Love
for a
it.
book. Yeah.
The Sea Wolves. Although it doesn't make much sense. Like a submarine equals a wolf that
Yes, a wolf in the
Swims.
sea. What don't
Yeah.
you get?
It should have been the sea slug or something, but that's not as badass.
No,
is
that's
why-
the name of that failed toy from that movie Toys of Robin Williams. Like there was a sea slug toy that was like attacked Robin Williams in that movie.
Yep, there sure was. Now moving on.
Anyway, in this book, The Sea Wolves, which I'm sure was more like Das Seewolfs, ja, it told of the U-123, which when it comes to naming a submarine, I mean, U-123 has got to be up there with the creative names that they could have come up with. It's like, I don't know, it's a U-boat and 123. There you go.
Well, U321 was taken. So.
Yeah, it was like one of those like email addresses we have to annotate your name, like Josh Cannon 1235555. That's what happened with this.
That's the kind of combination an idiot would have in his luggage.
Sure.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's getting his luggage stolen.
So it had told of the U-123, which had come upon the Muskogee while in their battle zones. The U-123 sunk the Muskogee. Ellen Betts confirmed that this was William's ship. George also found photographs that a crew member aboard the U-123 had taken that day the Muskogee was sunk. One of the photographs showed 7 men who had survived the sinking. Unfortunately, those men would drown before being rescued.
Now that's a bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. In 1979, George contacted the National Archives in Washington, D.C. and obtained a microfilm copy of German war records. It included the captain's war logs for the U-123. The war logs mentioned the Muskogee and its sinking. Captain Reinhard Hartigan had commanded the U-123 and had sunk more than 20 U.S. ships.
Josh, are you just trying to get through this?
No, not at all.
Get it over
what
with?
would make you think that?
That's kind of what it sounds like. Just a hunch.
Okay, and I mean, no, I mean...
It's
and
okay.
his name is Reinhard too. It's Reinhard Hartigan. Like that's totally
penis
is
joke.
That like his
We
porn
understand.
name?
Yes. After the war, he was elected to the West German Parliament. George began writing to Hartigan, and the two agreed to meet in Canada. Very neutral area. Sure, why not? By the way, those of you who are listening to Perhaps It's You, if you happen to be Canadian, they enjoy boxes of candy and gifts.
Oh my God, yes, send us chips.
Yeah. How are you guys getting so many deliveries of snacks from other countries?
Not you guys.
Not me.
Me specifically.
Josh.
Josh
I don't
has
get
an in with
anything.
the Canadians, let me tell you.
No, I did get Psychics. The DVD set was sent to me one time by a listener, which is really cool. But like other than that, that's all I really got.
But did you get maple syrup flavored cookies that are from Canada?
No.
No, you did not.
I need to know how the ketchup chips taste because are they as good as everyone says they are? The ketchup Doritos?
I haven't had the ketchup Doritos yet. Those were just sent to me yesterday. But I can tell you the ketchup flavored Lay's potato chips, fucking amazing.
They don't have those. Yeah, I need to try.
I've had food sent to me from Australia or New Zealand.
What?
Yeah.
Samantha, this show sucks. I quit.
But that's not because of the podcast. That's because of my YouTube channel. Like, and I've had people, they send me, like, I got a friend of mine, a subscriber, who sends me like every month or every other month like a box of DVDs and Blu-rays. So
okay,
yeah,
Mike, people send you
I'm pretty
stuff.
good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did. Wait,
You brought this upon yourself.
let it be known on the record that people do also send Mike things.
Yes, they do.
But while we're at it,
But honestly,
if you
I
have
accept their kind words. That's the greatest gift of all. Support and kind words.
It really is.
nice backpedal there, Mike.
No, it's true though.
Also chips.
Yes. I understand why like the shock factor of like thinking of ketchup flavored potato chips instantly, like, oh, that we don't dip our potato chips in ketchup. But when it's like a dry seasoning on there, it really makes sense because when you eat the chip, it I don't know,
We didn't question you. We just want the chips.
Okay.
Someone send them.
Yeah,
to
no,
us.
I
just
believe
want the
you that
chips.
the ketchup chips are
Give
delicious.
us the chips. We just want the chips.
okay, so
You're like at somebody at gunpoint. Give me the chips.
I want to tell you guys something interesting, and I'm only telling you guys, so please just keep this between yourselves.
Okay.
And like seriously, like I don't even know if this is gonna make it on the podcast, but in October of 1987, George and Reinhardt met. Reinhardt,
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Reinhardt gave George a chilling eyewitness account of the last moments of the SS Muskogee.
No.
Damn.
Yeah. And on top of that, he said that on the morning of March 22nd, 1942, they saw the Muskogee and torpedoed it. The ship,
What?
Yes,
Whoa.
the ship sunk quite quickly, and unfortunately, many of the crew members were unable to escape. However,
Oh no.
however, the crewmen that did escape, they boarded life rafts, and he gave several of the men food, water, and cigarettes.
What
Oh
the
my
fuck?
God.
He believed that a U.S. ship would soon arrive to pick up the men. However, the men were never picked up and lost at sea. Now that George knew the truth of what happened to the SS Muskogee, he was determined to let the families of the other crewmen know what happened to their loved ones. Within a few months, he was able to contact 8 families. In September 1988, he drove over 200 miles to meet with the family of 26-year-old Clifford Chelsea. He was the radio man for the Muskogee. The Chelsea family were happy to learn the truth. For years, they did not know what happened, believing the ship was either lost in the storm or the crew members were taken prisoner. George hopes to get in contact with remaining SS Muskogee crew member families that he has yet to locate. The end. Next segment.
Do you ever consider being an auctioneer? That was impressive.
If someone will pay me money to read shit fast, I'll do it, if that's what you're asking.
I mean, that is what auctioneers...
Give us a taste of that.
That is the definition of an auctioneer career.
Oh, is that
So-
what that is? Okay.
Give us a taste of the auctioneer.
I think you have to know a lot about cows, though. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, it's not just cows. It's other stuff too. Like the...
That's true. But the cow auctioneers are the serious.
Dude, I heard a real life auctioneer before, and it is like, you will laugh. Like, it is ridiculous sounding. Like, it's literally like, like it is, but he's saying it's.
You'd be great at it. That was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And those were, if you slowed this down, like, I'm actually saying real words in that.
You'd be a perfect pitchman for Micro Machines.
Just gonna let that sit.
Is
there.
that a movie? Is that a movie reference?
No, remember the toys, little cars, Micro Machines, and the commercials with the guy who talks super fast?
Samantha was making this face like, I remember.
Yeah,
All right.
That was obviously not a toy I played.
At this point, can we go into? I'm gonna make an edit here. 108:27. Can we go into the Q&A, and then I'll probably have to dip out, and you guys can finish the Patsy one.
Sure. Yeah, that works out. We don't want to make you have to come back and do this again. So
I'll hang around.
It's not that. It's not that I don't love
Patsy.
it. I do love it.
That'll be weird. They'll do Patsy, and then Josh is gone, and then
No,
we'll just
Josh
make
is
a
back.
no,
little.
you
the
guys.
next
You
one.
guys should say that Josh was so emotional about this case that he literally can't say anything for this entire segment.
Okay, so we had some listener questions for you guys. And I think
you
Liz
don't
wrote them.
say.
Yeah, Liz wrote them down. So the first question that our listeners want to know is, do you think that Bigfoot is a ghost?
No.
Oh, come on. It's possible, right? I mean, why have we not found a Bigfoot corpse?
Because animals ate it.
Not
Every single one
Not
and
the-
all of the bones.
Yes,
every single time.
every single
The
one.
bones just decompose naturally over time.
Also, can big feet, like, can they haunt like huge like areas? Like, well, I guess they can, because Devil's Backbone, which is an area, and that's haunted. That was an Unsolved Mysteries segment.
Devil's
So
backbone.
to answer your question, technically, oh yeah, don't bring that up. That conjures up bad memories. Well, I don't know. I don't think animal, like, you have to be like more of a sentient being, like a human, to haunt shit, right? Like,
Yeah. You don't see haunted pets,
I mean,
right?
maybe Bigfoots are kind of.
What
sentient.
about
When
Pet
you're-
Cemetery?
Yeah, but they're not ghosts. They're resurrected corpses. Get with the program.
Okay. Well, speaking of Bigfoot, someone wants to know, where is Mike hiding Bigfoot?
yeah, Mike.
Are you hiding Bigfoot? Is that do you actually know? Mike, are you holding out on us?
No.
Is this why you're so sure he's not a ghost? Because he's actually in your attic?
You guys.
I don't have an attic, and he wouldn't fit up there anyway.
So basement. So he's in your basement?
You guys,
Don't have a basement
I really
either.
don't know that much about
Crawl
Mike.
space?
I mean, I know I've hosted a podcast with him. I've checked the records. There is no Mike Brown in Vancouver, Washington. Mike,
This again?
Mike, are you Bigfoot?
No. I have pretty big
There was a
feet, but
pause
no.
there. I don't know.
There was a definite pause. A guilty pause, you might say. Elena asks, are any of Josh's songs inspired by Unsolved Mysteries?
and this is the first time I'm answering or hearing any of these questions, so these are completely authentic answers. Yeah, no, totally. I think growing up, those are like the most formative years of being influenced by music. Like, most of my favorite bands to this day are bands that my dad and brother got me into, and definitely the TV that I watched that I was a big fan of. The music for Unsolved Mysteries is just impeccable, and
It is really, really good.
I mean, for somebody who's a fan of like synthesizer, like synth-oriented music, or like that dark ambient music, the composer for Unsolved Mysteries was just brilliant with his uses of synthesizers to set the tone and atmosphere, and it's very specific to that show. You don't really, no one really got close to the kind of atmosphere that was able to be made with that. So I think a lot of that did stick in my mind as associating that kind of music with good. Like if it sounds like creepy and dark, it reminds me of Unsolved Mysteries. Therefore, it is good. So yeah, it definitely influenced the music that I make. Dancing with Ghosts, by the way, is the name of the band. You can find us on Facebook or YouTube.
But you didn't make
we'll
any
put a
songs that were based on cases from the show or based on segments. Or
You haven't made a song about the Devil's Backbone or
Robert Stack.
You just have the audio be.
I actually have in my new album coming out. There's a break, the bridge of one of the songs called "Nightmare Inside You." I actually kind of quote a line from Unsolved Mysteries. It's from that segment "Love Karen," where the daughter named Karen dies of I think cancer, but through a psychic, they're able to communicate with her. Then the mom got to the point to where she was able to communicate with Karen without the use of a medium, whatever the fuck it's called. And so the Karen from beyond the grave is saying to her mother, "I don't hurt anymore. I am full of light." And that's actually a line I used in the bridge of one of my new songs. So
all right,
Oh.
nice.
Yeah, we'll put a link to. Did you say it was on YouTube?
Yeah,
We'll put a link.
yeah.
Is that the best place to link to people to be able to go listen to your music? We'll put a link on our website, perhapsit'syou.com.
Yeah. It's
Well, he also he has an album on what
Spotify.
what is that? Spotify.
yeah.
All right.
Dancing with
Cool,
Ghosts.
cool. So our next question is, if you could solve any mystery, which mystery would you solve? A classic.
For Mike, I think you said it was a Kennedy assassination, right?
Yeah, JFK.
For me, I really want to know what happened at Roswell. Like, what really happened back in like the 1940s?
Well, we know it's not a weather balloon.
Did you watch the alien autopsy factor fission special?
Yes.
At the
And
fission?
did you factor fission? Yeah.
Fact
how you
or
say
stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that autopsy fucking video is definitely fiction, but Roswell,
Yeah.
I mean, we now know that the government has evidence of aliens. So Liz and I, being the skeptics that we are, even have to say, well,
Yeah, but fact or
Could have
fiction.
been it.
That was entertaining though. You got
Oh,
Randall,
yeah.
you got Frakes, Jonathan Frakes.
Oh yeah, stroking his chin, asking some philosophical questions. He was pretty good. He's no Robert Stack, but he's not bad.
I love him in the Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction, that show I used to watch. He was great in that, especially his reactions to the different segments. You're supposed to like guess which ones are fact or fiction. And even the ones that are fact, I'm like, yeah, no,
I
really?
just like how they don't support it in any way. They just go, "Oh, that one was a fact." And
yeah.
that's it.
He's just like, did you guess fiction? Wrong. It was true.
We just have to take your word for it, Jonathan Franks. All right, so next question. Leslie has not listened to your podcast yet and wants to know if you recommend listening in order or if you can kind of choose your own adventure when it comes to the episodes of your podcast.
Choose your own adventure.
It's totally choose your own adventure. Look, we set this podcast up. I don't know why I'm talking in my used car salesman voice.
You're talking in your David Miscavige voice.
Oh no,
again.
the David Miscavige voice is we set up this podcast. A Scientology joke there. We set our podcast up to where we didn't know how long we were going to do the podcast because much like you ladies, like it's just, it's kind of a weird thing starting a podcast from scratch, and it's like, are we really going to do more than like 3 episodes? And we were like, nah. Probably not. So let's knock out the big, the big hitters, the segments that we love the most. Let's talk about those. But then as time went on and people started listening, we got requests all the time. Hey, talk about this segment, talk about that segment. And so that's why we label our episodes, episode, 42. We talk about, Alcatraz. No, I won't bring that up. I'm going to save that. We talk about Roswell. We talk about, we list the episodes that we talk about for each segment, so you can just like a la carte, if a certain segment interests you, check out that episode. Complete opposite way of how Liz and Sam do it, where you have no idea what they're talking about.
I would say definitely check out the worst segments episode. That's one of my favorites that we've done, and the interviews. The interviews that Josh did, he did an interview with Don Devereaux.
Oh, right, yeah. So throughout the time that we've done our podcast, we've graciously been able to talk to people who are actually on the show, Unsolved Mysteries, in some form or another. We talked to Suzanne Kelsey from the Kelsey House Hauntings. We talked to Donna Parks, whose brother Larry Dickens was murdered, who was portrayed by Matthew McConaughey in the reenactment on Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries.
And it was it was Matthew McConaughey's first acting role. But his abs were still glistening and fully exposed in that segment. But
all right.
yeah, we were able to talk to her. She's one of the nicest ladies ever. Talked to Dawn Devereaux, who was a key interview. And
we also talked to the director of photography for over 100 segments of the show.
Yeah, Kevin O'Brien.
Yeah.
So check those interviews are pretty awesome. These people aren't. I don't think a lot of people are reaching out to them to talk about things, but they're not really giving interviews either. So it's that's probably one of the coolest, I think.
Exclusives.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's great. Yeah, they'll have to check out those. And you've kind of put those interview episodes together, right, in your feed, so people can just go straight to them.
Yeah,
and
I
find
segmented them off as separate things. So if you don't want to, because they used to be embedded in certain episodes, and they still are, but I also set them as separate standalone interviews if you just want to hear the interview and you don't want to listen to our stupid bullshit, which I totally don't blame you.
Awesome. So our final question is, how is Mike's toe? Which it sounds like your toe is doing okay, Mike. I don't know. We're very people seem concerned about your toe.
I think people moved on to Josh's possum now, I think. But yeah, no, it's fine. Yes, I can walk. It's not painful or anything. It's still the weirdest thing though, because it looks like a nail is grown on top of another nail. It's the weirdest looking thing. Even my mom, who has years of medical experience, she's like, I don't even know.
Excuse me, you guys. I'm going to go throw up, but I'll be back and we can resume.
Yeah, it is kind of, I guess, cool. I mean, if this were back in the day, you could be in a sideshow, maybe.
Yeah, it grows fine.
Oh, good.
My big toes are like freakishly large anyway, so it makes sense that they have like weird nails now. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm a weird guy, so.
So it just all works.
That's how
toes.
that works. If you're weird, you end up with weird toenails.
It's fate.
Weird toes.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you. Josh, I think you do have to run. So thank you again so much for being on our podcast. We really, twice. Very, very nice of you guys to come back, even though we messed up last time. And super nice of you to put, we'll do a collab in the future when we have some better mysteries for you guys to talk about that aren't quite so boring.
Well, before I go,
I
have I actually have two questions for you ladies.
Oh, okay. Let's hear
My first question is, what the hell is your problem with the Alcatraz segment?
Okay. Listen. What is good about that Alcatraz segment? It's so
everything.
boring. No, it's so boring.
The only good part is that they turned prison into craft time so they could make those heads.
Yeah,
and I would like to see the heads, but that's the best part.
Yeah, I know you guys recently redid your Alcatraz segment. So I guess I'll recommend, if any of our listeners actually enjoyed Alcatraz, that maybe they could go listen to your episode, because I don't know if we did the best job of the Alcatraz segment. We brought our friend Rochelle on the show because we're like, oh, Rochelle likes history. She'll love this. And Rochelle is a very nice person and would never tell us, guys, I really hate Alcatraz. So she came on the show and we're all like, oh, Rochelle's gonna hold this thing together because she knows history. And then immediately she was like, yeah, I fucking hate this mystery. And all three of us were just like, why did we even do this?
You brought on an expert who just proceeded to help you bash the segment.
That's pretty much what happened.
We should have had you guys on instead.
Prison escapes, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't appeal to us. It really seems like something that only men are into. Maybe that's a gendered stereotype. I don't know. But it's kind of backed up by the show because there's like one woman in that whole episode. And she was only brought in because she had to fill some dead air when that guy was swimming.
Yeah, because apparently Robert Stack is a witch and can't get next to the water.
He can't. That was a term of his contract. He can't be touched by water.
Though I have to say, after that our Alcatraz episode came out, we got tons of comments from people saying, "Oh, thank God, it's not just me. I don't give a shit about Alcatraz."
If you got, if those listening out there want a completely opposing opinion of the Alcatraz segment, go and listen to our episode that we did on it, because we love that segment. And my second question to y'all is, why you guys talk about mustaches a lot? Why do you think mustaches have fallen so out of fashion? In the like the 90s and 2000s, and why was it such a fashion staple back in the olden days?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I have an answer for why mustaches have fallen out. Maybe, and maybe that's what everyone associates them with. But it's kind of like I feel like the beard is the mustache of today.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got like beard oil now, and like they're super hipster about it.
Yeah, the hipsters with the curly mustaches.
I feel like we're gonna look back on beards like we look back on mustaches today. I don't know. I don't grow facial hair, but if it just seems so itchy to me. I don't know why anyone would want hair on their face.
Well, I can tell you right now, the mustache is the worst component of the beard because it's right under your nose. It collects all the food and drink and liquid and
snot.
That's so gross.
Yeah, if you ever sneeze, God help you trying to clean that up. So, I mean,
we're gonna throw up now.
Yeah, so to only have that on, out of the whole beard, you only want the most annoying
There's a
part.
reason why this term exists, the cum catcher stash.
Gross. I wish that Liz's husband was here, because the last time we answered this question on the audio that didn't
that
work,
was great. Yeah,
he
that was
slipped
hilarious.
us a note that helpfully reminded us that there's a lot of cops on Unsolved Mysteries.
And
it's
cops still have mustaches.
Yeah, it's like part of their uniform, I think, is to have a mustache.
They can't have beards.
Yeah, they can't have beards because if you have to wear a respirator, it won't fit right. So the only facial hair they can have is a mustache. And
why can't they have 5 o'clock shadows though, or something, or
I don't know.
A
Maybe
short
they
beard?
technically they could, but I feel like a 5 o'clock shadow is kind of hard to maintain. I don't know that.
If I could have a permanent 5 o'clock shadow all the time, I'd totally be
Indiana
all for
Jones
it,
can do it. Why can't you?
Indiana Jones had a makeup artist team or whatever the fuck, grooming his beard every day.
That's why he looks so good.
You mean Harrison Ford? Indiana Jones isn't like a real person. It's just
what?
You take that back, Mike.
My worldview is shattered.
He's an archaeologist, and he's the best.
Yeah, I don't know, but we appreciate a good mustache on this podcast. We rate them and choose a winner from every episode.
Well, there's also too many people trying to be Tom Selleck, and there's only one Tom Selleck, so.
That's true. Everyone else should just give up.
A lot of people look silly with a mustache. There's every so often there's a Freddie Mercury or someone.
My dad looks like Freddie Mercury when he just had a mustache. Like it's almost a spitting image of Freddie Mercury. It's crazy.
Sounds like your dad can pull it off, but a lot of people can't. It looks kind of.
Well,
funny.
he really didn't. I mean, it was just like he's cosplaying or dressing up as Freddie Mercury.
Your dad can be MVM for this episode.
Yeah, your dad's MVM.
All right, guys, that was the questions I had for you. Thanks for answering them. I booked myself. I double booked myself today, and I got to go DJ a party for a bunch of rich yuppies in Palm Coast.
All right, book it.
Well, you
book
also
it to your book.
Expecting to help us with our technical issues for 30 minutes. I'm sure.
I hate to open up the curtain here for the listeners of Perhaps It's You, but when they say that they're not professionals, they mean it.
Listen,
how dare you?
I'm sorry.
Are you seeing the mixer we bought off Amazon based on 2 Amazon reviews, and then we set up by just like guessing and pushing buttons?
I love.
I guess you just press this thing and then
it works.
plug this thing in.
Why
and then...
argue with results?
That's true. That's true. But anyway, thank you.
Hey, I was in the same boat. I didn't use my mic properly for multiple episodes.
That's true.
So hey,
that's true. He didn't. But then he finally figured it out, which y'all will too, and you have, and I love the podcast. I'm a huge fan, and it's lame that I have to go, but you guys will carry on without me. If you want, you can just insert blank spaces in the Patsy Right segment, and I could just go in post and add my commentary and laugh and go, "That's right, Sam, you are wacky."
That sounds great.
We should do that.
That sounds perfect.
But all right, guys, I will talk to you later. Send me your audio.
Sounds good.
All right, see you later.
We will. Thanks, Josh. Bye.
Bye.
ciao.
All right, Liz has the next mystery.
Okay, I'm doing an unexplained death. This is the Patsy Wright case, and I've actually gotten pretty interested in this case. It's a weird one. So
This is a great case.
Yeah, it's good. This takes place in Arlington, Texas in 1987 in October. 43-year-old Patsy Wright was found dead in her Texas home. I'm reading off the Unsolved Mysteries wiki as usual, and it says at first her family thought she died of natural causes, which is strange to me because when she died, she was on the phone with her sister. She called in the middle of the night to say, "I've taken some cold medicine and something's wrong." She collapsed while on the phone with her sister. Her sister and brother-in-law run over to the house. They can't get in the front door. Her brother-in-law ends up crawling through the window and giving her mouth to mouth despite a strange liquid coming out of her mouth.
Oh, that was so
the
gross.
green liquid.
Ugh.
It's
And
like toxic waste.
Yeah, it was nasty.
so I don't know why they'd be like, "Oh, she probably died of natural causes."
It's,
she
it's a part of the cover-up. It's a part of the cover-up.
She
They're like,
literally called them in the middle of the night, basically going, "I've been poisoned," and they were like, "Well, natural causes." But anyway,
yeah, because they don't want people to tie into the poison part. Like, that didn't happen. It was natural causes.
isn't
no
that
poisoning.
right, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. 8 days after the funeral, an autopsy was performed. A mass spectrometer checked for 56,000 different foreign samples in her blood, which I didn't realize there was that many. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was even the possibility of having that many different foreign substances in your blood.
It's a little frightening, actually.
Watch out, Mike.
Well,
And
I
it
mean, if you do, then, I mean, that's a lot of STDs.
I don't think they're checking for that.
but I mean, still, that's just a lot of foreign substances. Like, no wonder she's dead.
56,000? No, well, okay, she only had one, and it was strychnine. And someone
But
had put it
they said
in her-
56,000. Okay, no, they checked for
They
56,000. My bad.
checked for 56,000. They found
That would be really
one.
crazy. She had all 56,000.
Could you imagine? That would mean that something was wrong with the test. I was like, oh, it came back as every single one.
Or a very determined poisoner. I don't know.
One drop of each. And also this poison. And also this poison. Anyway, so it was strychnine, which is a very terrible way to die.
Yes.
And actually, at least at the time of Patsy's death, there had been only one other recorded homicide in the U.S. from strychnine poisoning. It's very rare. So then the police started to review Patsy's life to determine who may have killed her. Her sister and brother-in-law were questioned, but they were ruled out, mostly because her brother-in-law did do mouth-to-mouth and get...
But that's part of his whole thing, you know? You'd be like, you could be the guy who did it, who was just like, well, you know, I'll do
Would you
just
do
gross
that,
mouth-to-mouth.
knowing you had poisoned someone, though?
Yeah, they went over there and broke into her house, and then he proceeded to do mouth to mouth despite
I know,
her condition,
I mean,
which is really gross.
Yeah, I know, but hey, it's the perfect cover.
I mean, that's true. You could say the other way. Be like, well, he knew that people would say, why would he do this if he had killed her? So he could just be really smart. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know the whole, you know,
They
thing
seem
with
very
this case.
credible to me, but, I mean, I've been fooled before, so...
They're not my top suspects, but we can't
No.
totally rule them out, I don't
No.
think.
I do think it's odd that they said the FBI ruled out product tampering because they know it was put in her cold medicine.
Well, she
And-
drank like half of it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think the idea there was that, like, at least in the reenactment, the cold medicine was like half full. So I think they
Yeah.
thought, well, she had drank this before and didn't die of strychnine poisoning. So
Okay.
someone must have slipped it in.
That makes
So
sense.
it wasn't like the Tylenol poisoning.
Right, because
thing
that's
that
what I
happened.
immediately thought of was the Tylenol tampering case where 7 people died. But I guess this is different. And then the reenactment is really hilarious because you just see this pair of black gloves like pouring the poison into the cold medicine and like so carefully mixing it. You could almost hear a little like, this'll get Patsy.
I wish they would have put that into the reenactment. Evil chuckle.
So there were some other suspects. Patsy, suicide was ruled out because Patsy's life was going really well. She was close to her 2 children. She co-owned 2 wax museums.
Yeah,
Which
that's
were like
the
the
craziest thing
happening
about
place
this.
in town.
Worth over $6 million, which Unsolved Mysteries makes a point to tell you were like the social centerpieces of the town, which I don't understand at all.
I think it's because there was a bar.
Oh.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I was like, who goes to a wax museum more than once?
Yeah, what a fucking boring ass town if the most happening place is the local wax museum.
It's like, what?
yep, that looks
Well,
like
it's got a bar.
you're like, that looks like Obama. And then the next week you're like, yep, that still looks like Barack Obama. Love this wax museum.
Barack Obama. That's perfect because it doesn't look anything like Barack Obama. It's Barack Obama. No, really, that's what
Exactly.
happens at all these wax museums, especially the ones where they show a celebrity. It looks nothing like them.
It's pretty rare that it looks like them. And I kind of wonder how you get into the field of wax making.
I remember last podcast, one of you mentioned how there was some wax museum thing. You know, your parents took you to a wax museum.
Yes,
when
that
you were
was
a kid.
me. My parents deny this story, and they're listening to it now, probably shaking their fists in the air. But I swear, as a small child, they took me to a wax museum that had a house of horrors of different murderers. And that's probably the reason why I am the way I am.
That's why you're so obsessed with true crime. Like,
Yeah.
it's in the back of your
'cause it was
mind.
Like,
It's
oh,
in your
here's
subconscious.
a reenactment in wax form of a guy killing his wife in the bathtub.
That's what you take a small child to.
But I've brought this up and they have no memory of it, so maybe I made it up. I don't know. Anyway, Patsy was living a great life with her wax museums. She just bought 3 new horses. So it didn't seem like it would be suicide. Also, that'd be a really weird way to kill yourself. I don't know why you would call your sister. You wouldn't pick strychnine, which is a terrible way to die.
Yeah. You wouldn't be like, oh, I took this cold medicine that I'm going to use to kill myself, and then call you and be like, oh, I'm sick.
Oh, I am
No.
sick. Also, see you on the other side. I regret all my mistakes. Bye.
Is that what you would have said? You would have ended the call with bye.
I love that.
Going out now. Bye.
Peace. That's how I would have ended it. But no, it doesn't make any sense it was suicide, and it's clearly not. So, but who did want Patsy dead? Well, 2 people. Yeah, so her sister and the brother-in-law were cleared. Her ex-boyfriend, Leo Fikes, was considered a suspect and later cleared. I don't know.
Yeah,
about
he
him.
seems to be like the most credible one
Yeah,
out of all these.
He probably didn't do it,
But at the same time, though, like I keep going back to the brother-in-law, or whatever, because I'm like, they have the most to gain from this. You know, they
I think it was her ex-husband,
yeah.
Robert Cox, because she was going to testify against him in an arson trial.
Ah.
And
okay.
he had asked her
Yeah.
several times to lie or not testify or whatever.
Ah.
And she said that she was going to do it. So conveniently, she ends up dead. However, there's not actually any evidence to link him to the crime. It just seems like he had the most.
Well, he seems like a total cock. I mean, you know, he's cocks.
Yeah,
you
he
know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
The
He
name
sucks a bag
says
of
it all.
cocks.
But there was also like it looked like that night she had someone over because there were 2 dinner plates. So like, who was that person?
Yeah, that was
the person with the black gloves. It was the guy. who
Yeah, that
killed
was
her.
the murderer who like ate dinner with her off a tray in her bed.
No, they had a candlelight dinner and then he killed her.
I guess.
It was like a Craigslist thing. She was looking for love, and this guy came over, and they had a nice, intimate dinner, and then he poisoned her. And they
That's
left.
why I could never date ever again.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
That's what would happen to
No
me.
thanks. She was looking for love and strychnine, and she got them both. Oh, poor Patsy. There was also a weird detail that the day after she died, someone called the house, and her
Yeah,
daughter.
this is fucked up, really.
Her daughter picked up the phone, and the caller was asking for her mom, and the daughter didn't immediately want to say that she was dead. But after the caller was very insistent, she was like, well, she's actually passed away. You know, what can I do for you? And the person was like, good. I wanted her dead, and hung up.
What an asshole.
I assume that's just a prank or something, but it's
What
very
do you mean
strange.
for a prank? I mean, that's a really douche move
weird.
right there.
No, that's terrible. And it was clearly still upsetting to the daughter, even when she was talking about Unsolved
I
Mysteries.
mean, she's already going to be going through a lot of therapy after all this. So she doesn't need that.
She had not even processed her mom being dead, and someone's calling and saying, good, I'm glad your mom, who seemed very nice, I'm glad she's dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really horrible. I didn't quite understand why the police couldn't get more information on that phone call. Like, who made that call? But whatever. This case is not solved.
Nope.
They don't know who did it.
I sort of think it's the ex-husband, but that's totally a guess because there's really no hard evidence to anyone. They never found who was the eight at her place that night, and they don't know who made the phone call.
I mean, and her boyfriend at the time, Leo Fikes or something, like he was a close friend of hers. He knew that she took the cold medicine before bed, but he took a polygraph test and he passed.
Yes,
So-
he passed. The ex-husband declined to take one.
Yeah, but
I
it's a polygraph test.
yeah,
it's
it
not
doesn't-
even really.
it's not
anything
evidence
substantial.
because they're bullshit anyway. So
Yeah. Well, and it seems like everyone knew that she took this cold medicine to fall asleep. So I don't know that her.
So everyone wanted Patsy dead.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, they were speculating that that's why
It's
the
one of the
murder
wax
was-
figures that came to
actually,
life.
Mike, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Where were you on the night of October 23rd, 1987?
I wasn't even born, so there's no
Oh
way
my
that I
God.
A
could-
likely story.
Well, I was born, but I don't remember where I was. So
No, like I said, it's one of her wax figures that came to life
Actually-
and killed her.
this is
for
very close to my
treating-
brother's birthday, so I do remember
being
where
treated
I was.
poorly.
And I was not near Arlington, Texas, so I'm off the hook. Well,
So you didn't teleport
that's
there?
Patsy. I did not teleport there to murder Patsy and try to gain her wax museum fortune. It's an interesting case. I wish we knew what happened to Patsy. She deserved better.
I don't know. You sound like a pretty good suspect with your hatred, or of wax museums or something.
I don't hate
or
wax museums.
or
You
love
hate-
of wax
You
museums.
hate wax museums.
Liz is a museum aficionado, actually. I don't know if wax museums are your favorite type of museum.
I don't actually think that a wax museum counts as a museum.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is that really
That's
a
a good
museum?
point. Liz, did you also draw a picture of Leo Fikes' mustache? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I was considering him for most valuable mustache, but he is kind of suspicious, and I don't want to give it to him if he's a dirtbag.
I love this drawing because there's just two triangles facing away from each other, and the text next to it says "still suspicious to me."
What's hilarious about all of these mustache doodles is that they are the shittiest doodles you've ever seen, and I went to art school, so that's money well spent.
Yeah, Leo Fikes had a nice mustache. It was parted down the middle, kind
It has a very dramatic, almost like a ravine divide.
You can see skin.
Yeah, the Cupid's bow is like totally nude, and then he has a mustache on either side.
So is that two mustaches on one face?
Almost.
Yeah.
Double the stash, double
Double-
the fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this was an interesting mystery because it is totally unsolved and
Yeah.
never probably will be solved.
I don't want to drink cold medicine now after seeing this segment.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's-
Strychnine seems like a terrible way to
yeah,
go.
that's bad.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
My new
What was
gift
the
request.
extra info on the Tylenol thing? Because I remember that was pretty interesting. Because I did not know that it was actually some jilted somebody.
Oh,
whenever
yeah,
decided
so-
to.
I think there's more than one Tylenol tampering case. But
Yeah.
the one I know about happened in Illinois, and it was a woman who was murdering her husband. But to throw suspicion off of her, she also killed 6 other people by just entering stores. And back in the day, you could just screw the tap off of medicine
Yeah.
and do whatever. So she tampered a few other bottles with poison so that it would look like it was a problem with the
I think it was
product.
cyanide, right?
And not, I don't remember, quite possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. There's another Tylenol tampering case that's still unsolved. A lot of people speculate
yeah,
that
that's
it was
the one that's in the 70s, I think. The cyanide one. Yeah.
A lot of people, I think it was cyanide, and a lot of people, for some reason, I don't really know why, speculate that it was who's the Unabomber? What was his real name?
Weird Al Yankovic?
Ted-
No.
Ted Kaczynski. For some reason, people speculate that he did it. I think that person may have left notes that were.
They think that he did a lot of stuff. He's the
Oh, that's
Unabomber, and he's
true.
also the Zodiac Killer, and he's
That's
Weird Al
true.
Yankovic. and
No,
th-
Ted
this-
Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we've already solved that mystery. But in that one's still unsolved, and yeah, someone was putting cyanide into Tylenol, and I mean, I think for a long time people didn't want to take Tylenol.
Yeah, it actually really affected their sales. Right? I mean, fair enough.
It was
I mean,
the gel
yeah.
capsules. Yeah, but yeah, because
So next time you're like struggling to open some medicine and it's really annoying, just remember that it's because a bunch of people died.
yeah.
It is there for a reason.
Yeah, and just be thankful that there's no cyanide in that Tylenol. 'Cause
Yeah.
cyanide, also a terrible way to go.
No,
Yes.
there's a really good. I'm just gonna keep bashing on Tylenol. You're not gonna take any Tylenol after this. There's a really good This American Life about Tylenol and people that like accidentally take like one more than you're supposed to and end up with kidney failure.
Yeah, I don't take
Man.
Tylenol because well, first of all, the active
I take
ingredient.
ibuprofen. That's
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah, I usually take what's Aleve. That's
Yeah, me too.
whatever
that
I
one
forget
is.
the generic name for it, but yeah, Tylenol is actually kind of dangerous. I think
Most painkillers you should not be taking too much of. Like
That's
they
true.
affect your liver and do all kinds of fun. And you can get addicted to them.
isn't
I mean-
acetaminophen the active ingredient in Tylenol?
I think
I
so.
don't know.
And I've taken that before. And then
It makes me
But-
feel weird. I don't
I
like
feel
that.
like if you listen to This American Life about it, you will never ever take Tylenol again. Brought to you by Tylenol.
Yeah, ibuprofen or
no, it'd be brought to you by Aleve because
Oh
it's the
yeah,
competitor.
brought to you by Aleve. Actually, send me free Aleve. That shit's expensive. I would love that. Thank
It
you.
is expensive. Even the generic.
Yeah.
is-
I know when I had my teeth implants put in after I get hit by a car, I had a Percocet. And I can see why people would take that shit because it really is amazing. But, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Don't get
no.
addicted to opioids, folks.
Yeah. The advice of this podcast: don't take Tylenol, but also don't take opioids.
We could have like for your different audiences.
Yeah.
Watch out for biker gangs with chains. Don't take too more Tylenol. than
Maybe
you're
just
supposed
never
to.
leave your house. It's a dangerous world out there.
Yeah, but your house is probably full of ghosts.
Well, I mean,
And-
that's what
and
happens
mold.
in Unsolved Mysteries. I
Probably
mean,
stacky bottress in the wall.
I
But
very actively worry about
There's
Stacky
possums.
Bottress. Or
Yeah,
there's
but-
possums. Or the
Yeah.
possums are bringing in Stacky Bottress.
yeah. Well, I am looking forward to our next podcast collaboration in which the possum is featured on the show.
Oh, you mean Possum Cast?
Yeah, Josh is gonna need to get a mic for the possum.
You're like,
That's
hey,
not-
how are you?
That's a really good job.
We're gonna need, yeah. Oh, that's what we should have done. We should have just had Mike pretend to be Josh this whole time.
You can just have the
Oh, that would've
I
been
wasn't trying to
great.
do Josh. I was trying to do a possum. Like,
Oh, it
just
sounded like
hey,
Josh.
how are you?
That was a great Josh.
Oh. People wouldn't have been able to tell them apart. Although it would be hilarious if you had like an actual person just pretend to be the possum. This is our podcast advice to podcasters who are way better at it than we are.
Yeah.
Consider having a person in the room who pretends to be the possum and then do an episode.
What's so funny is that people act like we know what we're doing. And then today, Josh really saw, like, we do not. We could not hook up this.
He was so
the
nice
possum
about
could be
it,
like,
too.
you know, you could be like, hey, got any more of that pizza?
The whole time it's just asking for pizza.
The possum could be the associate producer.
Yeah, that's perfect. No.
we really went off the rails.
Yeah, this went off the rails a little bit. Do we have anything to say about? Should we rate this episode?
Oh yeah, let's rate. Mike, what would you rate this episode out of Robert's 5 Robert Stacks is the maximum?
3.
3. That's pretty high considering you had the shittiest mystery ever.
Well, it's because there's 2 good segments and there's 2 bad segments. I mean,
Yeah, I would say 2.5, 3. I agree. It's like I would only really recommend watching 2 of the segments, but they are very good.
yeah, that first one, the biker mom.
You have
Yeah.
to watch those biker
that's
my God.
epitome. That's the epitome of okay. You know, 3 stars. You know, 3
That's
out of
true.
5. You know,
Yeah.
3 out of 5
50%.
Robert Stacks. It is.
Unlike my Alcatraz rating, which was 1.
0.
Which was 1.
Yeah, we rated Alcatraz. Well, I think we actually rated it a little bit higher just because they put so much work into it.
No, you did. I gave
okay.
it 1 Robert Stack.
Liz wanted to give it 0 Robert Stacks. But-
You know, it's okay. It's cool. I don't get triggered like Josh does about that. But you know,
That's his cross to bear, I suppose.
I guess. Not
don't bring that
everyone's
up at dinner. You know that.
Josh flips the table. Yeah,
When Josh and my dad have dinner to talk about Genesis, let's set it up.
they could talk about Alcatraz. How does your dad, Liz, feel about the Alcatraz segment?
He's never mentioned it ever.
I think my dad would like it. Like he's into true crime stuff. So
No, I can't imagine my dad caring about that.
I also just, I don't know, if those guys did escape, like, good for them. Like, they weren't they just, like, petty thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think
They were not violent
it
criminals.
didn't help that you saw the whole episode. It wasn't just the Alcatraz escape portion, like it was the other stuff.
Oh yeah, because I listened to your guys' recent episode where you redid Alcatraz, and I guess I didn't know that you hadn't seen or maybe you had the Amazon one with all the extra the
Well,
recreation?
we've seen the Lifetime version, which is pretty much the same thing. But
it is? Okay.
Yeah, with the extra information, which is a history lesson of Alcatraz, and then the reality TV show thing with the swimmer, which I didn't care for. I know Josh did mind that, but I'm like, this is not Unsolved Mysteries. This is like
with Dad
Sweeps
bod.
Week.
Yeah,
this
Josh
is Sweeps Week. This is Sweeps Week material.
It really was. I don't think that really happens anymore, but I kind of miss when you would have Sweeps Week and like suddenly every cop show went to a strip club. You know, like they were like, we've got to really like raise the bar here for sweeps. All
Tonight on
explosions.
Cops.
Yeah.
The all strip club episode.
No, seriously. Back in the day, NYPD Blue, every Sweeps Week, for some reason they had to go to a strip club so they could show women in thongs. I'm not kidding at all.
Well, as long as we don't see Dennis Franz's ass.
Which you
like
had
we've
to
seen
all the
before.
time. Why did I keep watching that show?
These are questions that have remained
That's
unanswered
the
all these
real
years.
unsolved
Yeah, that's the real unsolved mystery for sure.
Yeah.
Then it's why NYPD Blue kept subjecting audiences to Dennis Franz's ass.
Liz is just nodding like, yep,
Yep.
that's the real unsolved mystery. So yeah, well, thank you, Mike and Josh, who's not here, for
And
coming on.
also Josh's possum.
Yeah, thank you to the possum. For
Does the possum have a name? Do you know?
I don't think he does.
I want to name him.
pretty soon the possum's gonna need a name because the possum's gonna be on the lease. So we're gonna have to find out that possum's name.
Reminds me of the giant rat I saw when I was living in Oklahoma City with my dad in this piece of shit house that had a hole in the wall in the bathroom you could see outside through. And I came home from work one day, and then I'm looking around. I'm in the laundry room, and there's this giant fucking rat that's on the windowsill. And like I over exaggerated its size, like I thought it was like the size of like a skunk or something or a possum, but maybe it was. It was fucking huge.
A mutant rat, yeah.
Mutant
I don't know.
rat.
Rats can get pretty big.
And we
I've
had
seen
a big cat, and then that cat didn't want anything to do with that.
I've
thing.
seen some big rats.
The cat was like, "This is above my pay grade. I'm not."
Rats that just live on Chicago garbage and have no predators. They do get pretty big.
Gross.
And then they come for you at night.
They come for you, like with shivs or what? Are they? Do they have
come on
chains
ships.
like the biker gang?
Yep.
little motorcycles, like the mouse and the motorcycle.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Biker mice from Mars.
Yeah, biker mice.
Samantha's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, but it's a funny mental image.
They used to make this low budget cartoon that was just a ripoff of Teenage Mutant
Yeah,
Ninja
I
Turtles.
remember it. I
It was
totally remember
called
that.
Biker mice from
The
Mars.
villain was like Limburger or some shit because he was like,
Yeah.
stinky cheese.
They lived in a baseball diamond. It was just like everything. It was like the turtles live in a sewer, so we'll live in a baseball diamond.
Yeah.
Makes total
Instead
sense.
of turtles, they are mice.
Mice,
Instead
yeah.
of mutants, they are from Mars. The end. Oh yeah. Instead of ninjas, they ride motorcycles.
I mean, seems.
Well, I mean, they did
solid.
that a lot. You had Street Sharks. That's another
Street Sharks.
Turtles
That was
thing.
a quality show.
So walk down memory lane.
But yeah, we're gonna just me and Mike are gonna start a new podcast that's just talking about bullshit from the 90s no one remembers.
Is that going to be the name of the podcast? Bullshit from the 90s that no one remembers with Liz
I
and
would
Mike?
listen to the hell out of a podcast. If I saw a podcast with that name, I would subscribe immediately. I would go buy extra phones so I could subscribe.
We're
the whole
talking
time.
about the cows of Moo Mesa or some shit. Yeah.
That one's lost on us. You sound like you would be a great host of that podcast.
Yeah. Please create bullshit from the 90s no one remembers. And then
I'll definitely
give
consider
out
it.
pogs to your Patreons.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I have a creepy crawler oven if you need it.
Yeah, let us know. I don't know where you're going to find the
They
goo.
did a cartoon of that too.
They sure did, and I watched it.
So yeah,
So Josh cut all this out.
yeah,
they didn't do the Easy
dear
Bake
Josh,
Oven cartoon.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, dear Josh, I don't know how you're gonna edit this fucking audio.
We might use this as B-roll for our podcast.
Sure, that's fine. Use whatever you want.
Should we make like a closing?
Yeah, should we do a closing? I don't know. I just
You didn't rate
once
the other stuff. Isn't there other ratings?
Oh yeah, we kind of skipped over all the categories. Should we do
Okay,
those?
so we're rating
Josh
it
this
3
is such a
stars.
train wreck.
How did
I
you
remember.
feel
I kind of
about
remember what
the
Josh said.
Reenactments.
Yeah, so we have categories as well, and you can give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs sideways. The first category is reenactments, and I think I speak for all of us when I say it's a thumbs up.
Oh yeah, these are some of the best reenactments you'll
Well,
ever
the
see.
first two are I mean, I don't know. I mean, the first one is
Be quiet.
entertaining.
The biker moms, not the biker mice from Mars. But the
biker moms from Mars. That's a whole nother
The
show.
biker mice moms from Mars? What? What? Yeah, I don't know if I mean. Okay, so
That's the spin-off about the biker mice's moms.
that would be a great show. I don't know, like the reenactments for the first one are so good that I feel like it kind of carries the rest of the
Yeah.
episode.
I don't think. I mean, because the Muskogee thing doesn't really have a reenactment. The white bird is lame.
It was pretty lame.
So I'm kind of like thumb sideways.
You can do a thumb sideways. That's acceptable.
Yeah, that's how I am about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. So the fashion is the next category.
Well, that's a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's a solid.
We
thumbs
have
up.
to do a thumbs up for that mom fashion. That was so good. I don't even know how they got their hair that big.
Lots and lots of hairspray.
Oh,
Yeah.
tons of hairspray. Yeah, Aquanet. They went through several
They
cans.
single-handedly poked a tiny hole in the ozone layer.
Yes, they did. What was our next category? I don't.
Oh, Robert Stack's outfit.
Oh yeah. If I don't have it written down, I don't remember. Robert
You didn't
Stack's
really
outfits.
have a lot of outfits.
I don't even remember. Was he just wearing suits again?
I shrug.
Step up
nothing
your
stood
game,
out.
Robert Stack.
I don't think there was any turtlenecks, so Samantha doesn't
I think
care.
there was. I think I remember you saying that he wore a jacket, a leather jacket, and one.
Oh
Maybe it's a
yeah, he
different-
wears like a dad leather jacket at some point.
And some dad
Probably
leather gloves.
before the biker segment.
Yeah, well, of course, he has to wear a leather jacket for that one.
I mean, whatever. Thumb sideways, I guess.
Yeah, thumb sideways. Is
Yeah.
that our last category? Okay, so those are all our categories. I don't know who gets MVM. I thought that Gus Hoffman had a nice mustache, even though it was kind of wispy. Liz is
Is that
pointing.
even enough of a mustache to count?
He was trying really hard.
I think I have the blueberry farmer, except that I didn't write down a name, of course.
No,
so-
that's not the blueberry farmer. It's the other witness, the guy who was friends with the
okay.
blueberry farmer or something.
Liz has just written mustache ? Very straight, and then she did a doodle of it.
Yeah, the guy who's was on the lake paddling and supposedly heard the plane
Oh yeah,
crash.
yeah. I remember.
Yeah,
him.
that's my pick.
That was a
That's
good
my
mustache.
pick too.
So that's this episode. We want to thank Mike and Josh again so much for coming on our show twice. Even though
Yeah, no problem.
Your
Even
mysteries.
though we're solid professionals and we definitely know what we're doing and we have top of the line audio equipment and it's totally not weird that Samantha and I have been trying to share a mic this whole time.
I feel like after our bumble with our audio last time, Josh was so confused. He was like, "Well, I mean, there must have been some sort of technical error. Something just got messed up." And then he saw our setup today and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not surprised."
He's surprised that we've ever gotten this to work.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's safe to say. But you guys have been awesome, really supportive of our show. The whole I think fans of Unsolved Mysteries seem super nice. So it's awesome. People have come over to our podcast from yours, and I know that some of our listeners have gone over and listened to your show. There's plenty of Unsolved Mysteries to go around. I think it's amazing that people listen to multiple Unsolved Mysteries
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah, it is.
So
And
kudos
no, we
to
don't-
them.
I'm speaking for Josh here too. We're not mad at you or whatever for stepping on our turf.
From taking over your turf. I seriously think we posted our first episode and it was up for maybe 2 hours before we heard from Mike because he
Yeah.
got an Unsolved Mysteries beacon in the sky,
Yeah.
like the bat signal. He saw Robert Stack and he was like, "More Unsolved Mysteries?"
Yeah, I was just like Michael Keaton in Batman Returns when the bat signle turns on and he turns around and just looks
Totally.
up at the sky.
I think we said this when we were on your show, but when we started this, okay, this is how much of not professionals we are. We were like, we thought we were the first people with this idea. We're like, we're going to be the only Unsolved Mysteries podcast. It's going to be great. And then we're like, oh, there's other Unsolved Mysteries podcasts, and they do a really good job. And this is... And we're like, well, should we just quit? But then we got such good feedback from you guys, and we were like, wow.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you gals are great. You have wonderful chemistry. You're funnier than we are. Like I can admit it.
Just wait till the possum gets there, though.
Yeah, the possum's gonna have some great jokes. No, but seriously, you guys have been great, and the encouragement really gave us the motivation to continue. And your listeners have been great. So thank you so much. Thank you to Josh, who's not here, for
Anytime.
somehow editing this train wreck together. I don't know what he's gonna do, but it'll be a testament to his professionalism that he's gonna be able to do it, I'm sure. Do you want to plug your stuff, Mike? Where can they find you guys?
They can find us on Patreon. We have our own Patreon. You can look it up. Uncovering Unexplained Mysteries. There's a Twitter. Uncovering or I do because I think it's funny. It's like uncovering. I like it. On Twitter. We have a YouTube channel that we don't really do anything with because nobody really watches our stuff on YouTube. But if you were to look for it, I think it's Uncovering Unexplained Mysteries, something like that. And we have a Facebook group, which is definitely join the group. Don't join the fan page. The fan page sucks. The group is Uncovering Unexplained Mysteries. You can just look it up. You should be able to find it. And if you want to find me and Josh, separate but equal, as Josh likes to say, we're on YouTube as well. Josh is at Dancing with Ghosts. You search up Dancing with Ghosts on YouTube and you'll find it. And I am at OCP Communications. It's a reference to RoboCop, my favorite fictional character.
Very
and
nice.
I recently posted a review of a new movie, Game Night, the comedy from 2018, which I highly recommend people check out. It was funny.
Cool.
It was a nice, clever comedy. If you like Clue, I definitely recommend it if you like the movie Clue.
Nice. Well, thanks. And of course, you can find us. We are on all the social media at Perhaps It's You. People can email us at perhapsitsyou@gmail.com. And of course, we have perhapsitsyou.com. Check it out because we'll post links to where you can go find Mike and Josh's stuff, including Josh's new album. We really appreciate you guys coming on the show. And yeah, we'll definitely talk to you soon.
All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.